It takes about 30 minutes by boat to reach Eastern Egg Rock, an exposed 7-acre island several miles off Maine's midcoast. Dr. Stephen Kress, founder of the National Audubon Society's Project Puffin, has lost track of the number of times he's made this trip. He's been doing it every summer for 46 years. Today, he's checking up on the island's 5 interns and dropping off supplies. Hundreds of screeching gulls and terns circle overhead. Hi. Food, fresh water, and several passengers are transferred to a smaller skiff and brought ashore in a series of quick trips. Sarah Guttart is the crew lead, who shows off her new rowing skills. She says the island is the perfect training ground for the next generation of marine ecologists.
Things are changing, and we are here kind of potentially documenting that change and trying to figure out what are the questions we need to be asking now, and how do we ask those questions, and how do we get that information out of the seabirds.
Puffins are the reason this project started. They're cute and colorful with tuxedo-looking suits of black and white feathers, bright orange beaks, and feet. But by the late 1800s, they'd largely disappeared from islands in the Gulf of Maine, killed off by hunters for food and feathers. More than a century later, the puffins have returned.
This little puffin chick is about 5 weeks old. I can tell that by the lack of down on it.
In 1973, Dr. Kress came up with an unusual plan to try to repopulate puffins. With permission from the government, he began transporting chicks from a healthy colony in Newfoundland to Eastern Egg Rock. The effort paid off, and eventually it was expanded. There are now 1,300 puffins living on 5 Maine islands. The intern's job is to monitor and protect them where they can. Their work begins before the sun comes up. Researchers take turns spending several hours in a blind like this one, documenting the birds' nesting habits, how many eggs they lay, how their chicks are faring, what kind of fish are being brought in, and how often the chicks eat.
We've worked very hard to build this colony up to the point where I can say that it is continuing to grow. Our general trend is growth here, but it's still a very small colony. It's still extremely vulnerable to things that can happen here. Attacks by predators, it could be disease, it could be affected by any of that, but it also is affected every day by the climate and the whole food chain.
Interns try to keep predators like eagles and gulls away. Occasionally, the gulls have to be shot. But there's nothing they can do about the rapidly warming Gulf of Maine. Twice a day, they take the sea surface temperature to look for changes that might affect small fish that puffins and other seabirds need to survive.
Ooh. It's like 62 degrees. So this morning it was 60 degrees, so it got a little warmer, but it's not like abnormal.
The job also requires grubbing for chicks, reaching into a deep, dark burrow and carefully pulling them out. The birds, which include other species like this black guillemot, are weighed, measured, and banded.
253.
All the data is then carefully recorded and taken back to the island's central station.
All right, so this is the Egg Rock Hilton.
Between May and August, the interns are essentially camping in the field. The Hilton is where they typically relax when they aren't working and where they cook their meals.
We have a 2-top stove that's heated up by propane. Got a nice little kitchen counter. We got pretty great amenities. Got a cooler, which is pretty great. We can store some dairy products from time to time. And this is our workstation. This is where we enter data.
Out here, electricity is limited, and there is no running water. Showers are taken with a quick dip in the sea. The birds' noise is constant even at night, and so are their droppings, which is why hats and long sleeves are essential. But Michael Rickershauser, a former auto mechanic from Long Island, doesn't mind. He's got a passion for seabirds.
It was sort of a dream come true to come work out here. It's something special. It's more than seeing a picture or reading a book.
Over Project Puffin's 46-year history, more than 500 interns have worked on several Maine islands, protecting puffins and other seabirds. Dr. Kress says the main lesson he hopes they've learned is that people can be destructive to a species. but they can also help bring it back.